Hello, everybody. This is J.W. Najarian from On Purpose Magazine, and we're here today at the California Women's Conference with Rosie Perez. How you doing, Rosie?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Well, it's an incredible conference. I mean, we have like thousands and thousands of women. What are you speaking about today?
I wrote a book, and so I'm promoting the book. So that's why I'm here today.
Rosie Perez, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life. And what does that mean? What is unpredictable life? Tell me about that.
Well, you have to read the book, but basically is that from the time prior to my conception, everything was very unpredictable, and it continued even to this day. The events that unfolded throughout the years, from the time I was born to present day, but in the book I just take it up to the early 90s, up to the point of my Oscar nomination. And I just really talk about 2/3 of the book is about my childhood and how I came to the big screen.
And were you, as a child, were you one of those children that always wished to be an actress and do what you did? Did you plan ahead and it came true? Or was it like the book says, unpredictable? You never expected to go as far as you have?
No, I always wanted to be a marine biologist or a political scientist. And so, I was discovered by Spike Lee in a nightclub after a science lab class. No, that was Soul Train, excuse me. And then at a different nightclub, when I was transferring back to the East Coast, and he asked me to be in the movie, and it changed everything for me. But that, it's unpredictable because what I've learned is you have to be prepared for life, and but you also have to be open to the opportunities that come your way. And if you are prepared, then you can make that adjustment and just go with it and flourish. And but the book is mainly about a lot of the child abuse that I endured early on in my years, and how I had to deal with it and how I had to overcome it, because a lot of times you mistake success and money as proof that you have overcome, and it catches up to you, and that's pretty much what the book lays out.
Would you say it's a lot about mindset? I mean, when we're all younger, we're so into our own heads, and it's hard for us to be grateful, or or to be able to forgive, especially ourselves sometimes. But as we get older, we realize that the journey, a lot of us can take the journey on as their own and not feel so bad about it, and actually learn from it. Does that make sense?
Not for me. It doesn't make sense. I always knew that I was going to be successful. I did not know I was going to be in the entertainment world, but I always knew I was going to be successful. I just refused to let my circumstance define who I was. I wanted to be a specific thing. And even as a child, I was very steadfast in that quest. And sometimes when you are so motivated and so focused, you don't focus on what's going on inside, because you have especially children of child abuse, you have a strong need to move forward, because the ones that are not as focused, and I say that with great humility, they get swallowed by the situations that they are in, mental, physical, emotional abuse, whatever kind. It's very hard. It's very, very hard to deal with. And but for me, I was always determined to rise above it, but I did not realize later in my adult life that I did not completely conquer it.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, because you're speaking to a lot of women, what message, what would you like women to take away from this, and what message are you really trying to portray to maybe help women in your same situation or similar, or that might identify with you?
I think that for women, for myself, I could speak only for myself, is to understand that you have power within. You have the ability to do anything and everything you want to do. And you cannot allow anyone to take that away from you or direct you away from it or make you feel small in it. That's the socialization and the sexism that goes on in the world against women. And even as simple as in junior high school, of raising your hand and being ignored and being, chosen over the boy in class just because he's a boy. Those simple things, or saying, I want to be this, and someone says, well, why don't you be this lesser thing? There's women, you're taught to, your success in life is having a partner and getting married. And that's so antiquated on one hand, but yet still prevalent today. And for me, that was not an option. It wasn't in my game plan. Right. And I was very, very competitive as a child. I did a lot of sports. I did a lot of baseball, softball. And even in that, I was kind of frowned upon. Everyone I was saying, yeah, I'm a girl. Everyone said, oh, she must be a lesbian. I was like, really? Really? And that's what I mean is don't shy away from your strengths just because they're perceived as male. It's do whatever you want to do. Do whatever you want to do and respect and honor your power, and don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of judgment because you're powerful. And so that's what I mean.
Marianne Williamson says, "Don't play small." Who are we to play small? And that you remind me of that. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense, because when you play small, you don't only hurt yourself, but you hurt all the other women in the world and the women to come that are behind you. Because the world will accept your smallness in a hot second quicker than they will accept your greatness.
Right. Well, nobody's looking for your brilliance. They're looking to find out, what they're looking to be critical and judgmental, and it's a hard road. So it's to all the women out there. Can you say it's a hard road, but it's worth it?
I think it's a hard road for most people, regardless of your sex, but for women, it's that much harder. I mean, if you look at the editor-in-chief of the New York Times, she was fired because she was not agreeable. She was difficult to work with, but her, the one prior to her, everyone said that he was a tyrant, but it was okay because he was a man, and that's what I mean. I mean, being the head of the New York Times, you would have to be a tough person, regardless of your sex.
Right. Was there a big double standard for actresses?
There's a big double standard for actresses as a whole, but in my book, I'm not really concentrating on that. More so, for me, even when I went into the workforce early on, I had to fight just to get a decent job. Go into a law firm, and they wanted me to be the receptionist. And I go, no, I don't think so. I have college credits under my belt. I don't want to be the receptionist. There's nothing wrong with being a receptionist, but it's all wrong for me. That's not what I want. This is the job I want. And I think that type of assertiveness is frowned upon when it comes to women. And and slowly it's changing, but there's a lot more that has to be changed. And when I was a choreographer, it was the same thing. I had to deal with a lot of misogyny in the hip-hop world. Something that people don't talk about is the woman's sexuality. In the hip-hop world, I'm on tour more months out of the year than I'm not. You're working and working and working. There's men all around you. If you flirt with a male counterpart and off, work hours, you're considered a promiscuous or a tramp, a slut, a whore, but the men do it all the time, and it's okay. When in the world of choreography, majority of the jobs that you are going for, you have to be interviewed by men, and majority of those men would kind of force themselves upon you by strongly suggesting, if you sleep with me, then you can get a job. And people hear this all the time, but they don't really understand what it means and how it feels. And because I would say no all the time, I was considered a bitch. Because I was a tough choreographer, I was considered a bitch. If you go on Broadway, every choreographer on Broadway, male or female, is tough. It's just the way it is. It's a hard profession. You have to have dancers listen to you. They can't divert from your vision or the producer's vision that you're working for. You have a limited amount of hours, and you need to produce, period. So, but in the music industry, women were just not respected. The only woman that did prevail during my time prior to me was Paula Abdul, and she did it with such a smile.
So let me ask you about, changing gears a little bit, about the writing process. Is this your first book?
This is my first book. Mm-hmm.
How did you like writing?
I didn't enjoy the writing process. It was very, very difficult for me because I had to revisit a lot of places that were not pleasant.
Well, sometimes they say it's cathartic, not at all? Or?
No. I had done the work prior to writing the book in regards to therapy and working on myself, and I think that if I had not done that, it would have been even more difficult. But still, I'm a human being, and it was not easy. It was not easy, and it took me about 18 months to write this because I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to write a fluffy novel. I didn't want to write a self-serving novel. Just, look at all my accolades and look at all that I've accomplished. I wanted to write a novel to allow young people, women, men, whomever, who had to deal with child abuse. I wanted to write for them because it's not easy. It really isn't easy. And, I had said in prior interviews that, a boxer goes inside of a ring, gets hit in the head 300 times and is rushed to the hospital. A child endures 365 days of abuse and yet doesn't seek treatment when they get older or when they are a child. And that was my main purpose to write the book, so I had to be honest. I had to be honest because I didn't want to sugarcoat it. I didn't want to say, I was so strong and look at the success I had garnered. I wanted to say, even in the midst of my happiness, even in sitting in all this success, I still had those dark days. And I thought it was important for me just to spill it and not hold nothing back. So therefore, the process was extremely difficult.
Well, listen, we thank you so much for your time today. I know that you've been busy all day with the conferences and speaking, and so I really appreciate your time and your candor. And we can all find your book. I'm guessing it's all over Amazon, etc., right?
Yes, it's on Amazon and on iTunes and at BarnesandNobles.com, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Because it's also funny, too, because I'm hilarious.
Everybody, we are here with Rosie Perez today at the California Women's Conference. Thank you again, Rosie.
Thank you so much.
All right.